Duo versus inside zone. Let's take a look. This is from 2023, Michigan, Ohio State. This is duo. We're going to watch it first from the sideline, and then we're going to watch it from the end zone angle. A little bit easier to tell from under center than it is from shotgun, but it gives us a basis. So what are you going to see? You're going to see the right guard and center double through the one technique to the backside linebacker, left tackle, left guard, double through the three technique to the Mike. Sometimes you'll get another double front side. Here you don't, because they're going to block. He's going to slant in. You're going to block with the tight end. This tight end is going to pick up him trying to slant inside, and he's going to fold underneath up to the second level. That is duo. This is also duo. This time it punches out the backside instead of out the front side. Washington's going to be in an odd front. They're going to slant. He slants left, so the double team is between these two to the Mike. He slants left, the double's between these two to a front side linebacker. Pop, pop, out the backside. Those are duo runs. This is inside zone. You can see the offensive line step to their left, motion in. He's going to split block the backside. This is what duo looks like diagrammed. Notice the running back is stepping and working to his right, while the offensive line is working towards its left. You're going to get a double team up to the Mike, a double team to the Will, fan out, and a kick out block. Again, the running back works the opposite flow as the offensive line. Compare that to inside zone, where the running back's path is in the same direction as the offensive line's flow. So here, the offensive line blocks covered, uncovered rules. If they're covered, they're going to block. If they're uncovered, they're going to help out and then combo vertically. All of that seems to make it pretty easy, right? If you're running in the same direction as the flow of the offensive line, inside zone. Against the flow of the offensive line, duo. Well, it's not so straightforward. Let's look at the blocking. Here's a diagram put together by former NFL offensive lineman Jeff Schwartz. Are you running it to the tight end? No, then it's inside zone. For duo, you need at least a three-man surface. If you are running it towards the tight end, does your center work to the front side? Yes, then maybe it's inside zone. No, then most likely it's duo. Is the backside OT blocking the defensive end, aka big on big, or is he working to the second level? If he's blocking big on big, most likely it's duo. If he's not, it's inside zone. Now, this is a good primer. It gets you about 70% of the way there, but it's not entirely accurate, and this is where the confusion comes in. So before we get too far in explaining some of these nuances, I want you to understand concepts. So on a zone concept, you need at least a three-man surface to the backside. Surface is the number of linemen to one direction of the center. Why do you need at least a three-man surface? Because the play often cuts back. If you only have a two-man surface, this defensive end can cancel gaps behind the line of scrimmage. This can be done with a block, it can be done with a read, but you always need at least a three-man surface to the backside. Now, the intent of inside zone is you're zoning all in one direction. So the offensive linemen are going to each step in the direction of the play. If they are covered, they're going to block the guy that's on the gap, in the gap, play side of them. If they are uncovered, they are going to work towards the next guy and then work vertical on a double team. Their goal is to try to seal the defense backside. It doesn't always happen, but that is the goal. That is the intent. They are trying to get play side, and if everything works out great, even on inside zone, theoretically, this running back is going to bounce to the edge. Rarely ever happens, but that's the theory of it. If they don't, of course, they'll drive them out. They're not going to do everything, move heaven and earth to get play side of them. But that's the initial aiming point. That's the initial goal. Now, I started with inside zone because I wanted to prove a salient point about what happens when you add a lead blocker. So this is inside zone to the left. It is lead inside zone. Lead means you have a lead player through the gap. When you have a lead player, his man is the mic. That is a man block. What that means for these zone combos, they're all zoning to the left. This combo no longer needs to work up to the mic. They can work one second level player back. And so as you add a lead blocker, the combo blocks go one back further. This becomes important when we hear about duo becoming power without a puller. What is power? Power has a front side combo block that works to the backside linebacker, a backside guard pulling and wrapping to a front side linebacker, and then a front side kickout block. So you have a man block leading through the hole to a front side linebacker, allowing this combo to work backside. But what happens if you take away the puller? So now you've taken away the puller, right? The backside guard is no longer pulling to the front side. So this front side combo needs to work vertical. Because you're no longer pulling this guy, you have another backside double. So here, because of alignment, it's the center and the right guard. But if this guy's in a one technique, it's going to be the center and the left guard, and they are going to work vertical to the backside linebacker. So you have created power without a puller. You have a kick out block, you have a front side double working to the linebacker, and you've replaced the pull with a backside double working to the backside linebacker. It is power without a puller because you've taken away the lead block, the puller, the man block that works front side. So it's simple, right? Why so much confusion? On duo, you have an offensive lineman doing combos working left with the running back working right. And with inside zone, you have the offensive lineman working to the right and the running back working with him. What is the confusion all about? You also have your blocking rules, right? The generic blocking rules that generally tell you one way or another if it's inside zone or duo. It should be easy. Nobody should be having any confusion about it, except these rules break down regularly in real life. Real life is not a diagram. Real life has specific rules that make this much more challenging than these things show. To prove my point, is this inside zone or duo? This is inside zone. You're saying, but wait a second, the offensive line is all working to the right. The running back is working to the left. As we move to a more pistol and shotgun oriented offense, the running back's aiming point has gone from about the outside foot of the front side guard to the ass crack to backside leg of the center. There's reasons for that, mostly with the path being much more difficult to hit that cutback. But now what you're seeing is an inside zone run that is working initially opposite the offensive line flow. And in fact, it's working here to the backside foot of the center. What's the aiming point on duo? It is the A gap. So duo block to the backside, A gap. It's gonna look similar. So that's why there's so much confusion to start off with. The running back path no longer so simply defines what makes inside zone versus duo. So instead you have to look at blocking. In this case, you can tell it's zone because this right guard is working over to the end. He's zone stepping before climbing. Whereas on duo, he would work to this tackle up to the mic. But there are some other nuances that you can follow. So first, let's look at the front side of duo. So the F. If this was zone, this would be the backside guy. On duo, this front side guy is going to base block. He would love to kick out. but he doesn't have a great path for it. You can run it from 2-back, you can put the fullback in here and really kick him out, but if he's a line near the line of scrimmage, most likely he's base blocking that Sam. That's different than inside zone, where he's really going to try to root in and cut him off and leave him backside. Why is that? Because here the running back oftentimes ends up bouncing it. If he fights inside, that running back is going to bounce outside, and then you have running back versus cornerback, one-on-one. That's great. That's different than inside zone again, because on inside zone, either he's going to try to root out that backside player, or this fullback or wing might just work straight to the second level because you can read that guy. So that's number one of what's different. Number two of what's different is going to be this combo block. On inside zone, you're really going to want, so let's say this is inside zone to the left. You're going to want this Y to take over this block on the end. What that means is his aiming point is going to be kind of the front side number of the end. This player, if he's not zone stepping to the left, if he is working vertical, he's going to stay on the front side shoulder, knock him back, and 70% of the time, he's going to be the one that climbs to the mic. Because Y is trying to take all of him. So he's going to gain some depth, he's going to take all of him, he's going to punch him back, and then he's going to work to the mic. On duo, they're both going to take all of him. It's 50-50 share. We're driving his ass back into the lap of the mic. When the mic declares, then we'll fall off. If the mic declares, then we'll fall off. But it's not so heavily favoring the Y taking that over. Same with this. This right guard would try to take all of that tackle so this center can block vertical and then up to the will. Okay, on duo, they're going to split him in half, step for step, right in his crotch, hip to hip, drive him vertical right into the lap of the will. So the combo blocks are going to be different. One's about 70-30, the other one's 50-50. More often than not, what you want to do on duo is you want this guy to fall off to the second level. That's what you want. You don't always get it. It's going to be dependent on how the linebacker declares, but like power, you would prefer to seal them inside. Whereas zone, it's the opposite. 70% of the time, you want that guy to come off. Let's look at the technique on the back side of duo or the front side of zone. So this would be the front side of zone, back side of duo. On duo, he is going to fan block or really hinge block. Okay, so on power, we see this guy pull and we see a technique called pick and hinge. Pick means he's going to step in to squeeze out that hole so this tackle can't just penetrate in, and then he's going to hinge back to prevent this end from running down the line of scrimmage. This guy stays here on duo, so he no longer needs to pick, but he does want to hinge because the last thing that he's allowed to do is let this end win over the top. Okay, so it's going to be left foot power step, right foot forward, aiming points high, force him to go upfield. On zone, he's going to stay left foot square, right foot square through probably the near side part of the chest, but parallel to the line of scrimmage. If this end works outside, he is going to torque him outside and flow him out there, push him out there, and that's going to look similar. But if he fights inside, okay, he's going to let him go inside, and he's going to seal him there. And the zone can bend outside of it. So the technique on the front side of inside zone is going to look different than the technique on the back side of duo. Now, recently, I've seen this block become a lot more aggressive than it used to be. It really used to be a hinge, passive block, don't let them cross your face on this side, force them upfield. It has become more aggressive as teams have focused on punching it backside. So it's a little more aggressive, makes it a little bit harder to tell it apart. But again, one is really going to keep you parallel to the line of scrimmage. One is going to force this end upfield and out. All right, so let's talk about the running back path a little bit. On duo, the running back is going to use power footwork. So from under center, that can mean a shuffle step, it can mean a draw step, it can mean a drop step. But at the end of the day, the goal is to get the ball in vertical in this A gap, because power, you read it A to B to C. And here you want to get it vertical in that A gap so you can punch it back, punch it vertical, or punch it to the front side. It is a vertical run. The running back, for his part, is reading primarily this mic. If this mic plugs, he's going to bounce. If this mic scrapes, he's going to punch it or punch it backside. But the running back is reading the mic. Why? Because these combo blocks are 50-50, driving their ass back into the linebacker. They're not sealing anybody. It's 50-50. And so it's a different read for the running back. Compare that to inside zone, where the running back is going to have a more rounded path. Even if it's from shotgun, it's a more rounded path to the ass crack of the center. More round, less drop in, punch to A gap. So it's rounder. Why? Because they're reading the defensive lineman, and they have to read the defensive lineman by the third step. So they're always going to read the first defensive lineman to the play side of the center in which they receive the exchange. So here, this is his first read. If this tackle wins over the top, he's going to bend it back. If he wins this way, he's going to look to the next next defensive lineman. If he's outside, he's going to bang it. If he goes inside, he's going to bounce it. Bend, bang, bounce. He's reading the defensive line, not the linebacker level, because the linebacker level is going to get taken care of by where the defensive line goes, and then they release to the second level. So he needs to read the flow primarily of the defensive line rather than the linebackers. So the technique of the path, more rounded in zone, more vertical in duo, and where their eyes are, what they're reading to determine what hole to go through, is different. Okay, so you got all these techniques now, who's taking percentage of the down lineman on the combo block, what they're doing front side, what they're doing back side, but then it becomes even more complicated because this is inside zone. And you're thinking it's inside zone to the right, so everybody's first step is to the right, but the right guard rocks back. The right guard rocks back. So we've given ourselves more freedom on inside zone to not necessarily just play covered uncovered rules, because covered uncovered rules, he would zone out to him, and then vertical, he would zone up to the linebacker, he would cut him off. That's zone rules. But now, because the play is more vertical, we've allowed him to rock back. If he was out here in a 3 technique, we would allow this center to rock back into this 1 technique before working vertical. So their first step might still be with that right foot, but it's more patient at the line of scrimmage because they're more likely to have to combo back and punch him so this guy can get all of him. So we're allowing uncovered guys, he's uncovered, to rock back to that player, which can look a lot like a duo combo because now you have these 2 guys working through him to the second level. But this is inside zone. The other challenge is even on duo, what we see more and more now, old time football, if you were gap blocking through this guy, you would step with that left foot right in his crotch. He would step with his right foot right in that crotch and they drive him back. But that's not necessarily the case anymore. A lot of times now we're going to take a power step with this right foot first. Just a really quick up down. If you can gain 6 inches with it, great. If you gain 3 inches with it, great. But you're doing it to maintain your base, so you're not lunging with this left foot. You're taking a power step so you can stay square and drive him back. So that first step is with the right foot, just like it would be on zone. So you have to look more at the nuance of the techniques to really be able to differentiate, and that makes it challenging. So here's an old school duo with a 3-man surface. I told you duo always needs that 3-man surface. And you can see here, this is older school, so he's just going to settle set, right? So that this is really just hinging, right? Forcing them upfield. But I'm going to give you a hint. 90% of the time, duo is not going to be run with a 3-man surface. It's going to be a 4 or 5-man surface. And this example here is a very good reason why. How many Y tight ends do you know are going to be able to base block that end and not allow that end to be able to release to either side that he wants to? This end is going to win this matchup versus most modern day tight ends. And he's going to be able to force the ball to spill to a nickel safety or a strong safety or one of these guys that's used to filling the alley. So you're not getting the double teams that you want. And let's say you get an underfront. Well, not, right? You have an overfront here. You get an underfront. Your duo is already dead. So most teams are not going to run duo with only a 3-man surface. What they're going to do is they're going to run it with a 4 or 5-man surface because they want the free player to be this cornerback on the edge. Because as Bill Walsh said, your cornerbacks suck at tackling just like ours do. And that allows your Y tight end to work either in combination with the tackle or with another tight end and work vertical. So he's not singled up on a defensive end trying to win that block. So most often than not, there's a few teams, some of the old Minnesota teams used to run duo with a 3-man surface, right, with all the RPO stuff. So they did it a little bit. But I'm telling you, more than 90% of duo is going to be run with a 4 or 5-man surface, not a 3-man surface. Inside zone, meanwhile, is almost always a 3-man surface to the backside. So whether you're getting that with an inline guy or with a split block, so the fullback working backside or an H-back working across the formation. Sometimes you get 4-man just to keep defenses honest. Michigan does it quite a bit. I showed a lot of Michigan clips. They do it. But for the most part, you're going to have a 3-man surface to the backside because expending 4 people to the backside of it more often than not is kind of wasting a blocker back there. You're just going to do it at times if you're really trying to bounce it back like that or bend it back to that side of the formation a little bit for defenses overplaying it. But for the most part, it's going to be a 3-man surface. So those are ways that you can really tell the difference between duo and inside zone. And so to recap, here's inside zone to a 4-man surface. Split block, zone to the left. You're going to see the running back's path a little bit more rounded to the ass crack of the center, not step down in vertical. First step left, rock back to the mic. First step left. He should stay a little bit more square than he is here, but he commits upfield, so now he's just going to torque him out. He's trying to take all of it so he can work vertical. He's trying to gain depth so he can take all of it so he can work vertical. He does work vertical. Inside zone. And this is duo. 5-man surface. More downhill. He reads the linebacker plugging vertical. Double team to his lap, double team to his lap. He's going to hinge out. You're going to see him a little more aggressive. They kind of fan aggressively at Michigan. And he's going to, running back's going to read the mic. Mic plugs. He's bouncing. Because your cornerbacks suck at tackling just like ours do. So one more time over the rules. Is it run to the tight end? No, then it's inside zone. You need at least a 3-man surface. So that one is always true. But it's hard to tell if he's running to the tight end or not because running back path is a little bit unclear. Is it run to the tight end? Yes. Does your center work front side? Yes. Inside zone? Well, maybe. If there's a 1 technique, duo can also work front side. Is it backside? No. Duo? Well, except sometimes when the center might rock back. Is it big on the backside? Yes. Duo? Yes, usually. Unless, of course, you have an RPO or you have an inside zone lock call or something else that can be inside zone and have that big on big block. No, inside zone, that is always true. You need to block the end on duo. Okay, and to recap, power step, which means he's going to work laterally, straight downhill into the A gap, going to receive the ball as far, as deep as he can so that he's able to read the linebackers. He will fan or hinge or pass set, whatever he needs to do to get that defensive end upfield. They will combo block 50-50 up to the linebacker level. If he plugs inside, he will fall off, take it. He's sealed inside, he will bounce because he's plugged. If he flows over the top, they will work into his lap. He'll fall off. Now he's out. Now he's pushing him out so he can punch it vertically, right? So you're just letting the first level combo blocks to the linebacker level take you where you need to go. Compared to zone, where you're going to have this guy try to overtake that defensive end. This guy try to overtake that defensive tackle because you want the front side guy to be able to seal the linebacker backside. Seal him backside if possible. Now, sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes this guy plugs fast, so you need to seal him. But nevertheless, if he's going to work back, okay, you seal him. If he works front side, okay, then you torque him outside. The read goes off of the defensive end. So you round it. You round it to get that lateral movement of the defensive line in order to be able to read them. Power, you get vertical. Duo, you get vertical to force the linebacker level to react so you can read the linebackers. And that is duo versus inside zone.